Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. We're doing it again, the top 3 baits for October, but these just aren't any baits. You know, we've done this a while, a few years now. Go back and check out last October and the October before that. That'll give you some other baits to think about because these baits are outside the box. These are maybe some new baits, maybe some baits that you didn't think about to have in that arsenal, to get out of that rod box, to get out of that rod holder. Give them a try in October when all else fails. Top 3 baits for October coming at you. All right, the first bait, it's a brand new bait. And the reason that I choose this bait is because, you know, we talk about it a lot. I talked about it last September, just trying to show fish something different. And why I think this, why I say this, I've got a pond right outside my house. And I promise you, those fish are the most educated fish on the face of the planet. And anytime I get a new bait, whatever it may be, I got a 10-inch swim bait one time. I went out to that pond, my first 2 casts, I caught fish on that bait, and I hadn't caught a fish like in a week or two. It was in the middle of July. So I guess what I'm saying is new baits catch bass because they haven't seen them. And a new bait out on the market, and it's a great bait for the month of October. I've been waiting to get to October to tell you about this bait, is the Berkley Nessie. It's a soft glide bait. You can see it's just really pliable. It's got a piece of cloth in the middle of that. It's got some fins that keep that thing upright. Very, very unique bait, very situational bait to throw down the side of a dock, off the end of a laydown, over a stump, a big isolated rock. It's something that, man, I've got a target coming up that I know a bass lives on. And probably every other boat in front of me has thrown a square bill over it or flipped whatever bait they flip over it, or, you know, throw their spinner bait. They probably didn't throw a glide bait over it. And you know, that's where this bait's going to shine. And this bait really shines, you know, in areas like underneath branches or skipping it up underneath docks because, man, I can skip this thing. I can skip it really, really well. It comes in 3 sizes. It's got the 9-inch size. This size weighs 2 ounces. This is the 7-inch size. This weighs 1 ounce. And then we've got the 5-inch size. It's a little bigger than a quarter. It's a 2/5 of an ounce. So they're all just kind of very unique in how they work. You know, the 9-inch by far is my favorite. It's the easiest to work. It gets, you know, just draws a lot of bites. You know, you'll have 1.5 pound, 2 pound fish eat this all day long. Do not be scared to throw this 9-inch bait. It's not that big. When you think about the fall and October and why I'm choosing this bait, man, it's time of year gizzard shad start coming shallow. It's time of year those fish really, you know, they're shallow. I look for flat points, just shallow water. It's the best oxygen content. It's cooling off a little bit. You know, it's the first water to get cool, and big gizzard shad get up there, and that's when this bait's really going to shine. So that's why I want to throw it this time of year. So we talked about places to throw it, you know, docks, situational places, you know, how it skips. Then how you work this bait. There's a couple different ways to work it. And really, in reality, all baits are different. You know, the 9, the 7, and the 5, they're very unique. They're very sensitive to how you rig them, the line, weight, the rod, all those things. Like I said, the 9's my favorite. It's the easiest. I'll throw this on 20-pound test. I'll have it on a 7.6, you know, heavier action rod. Bass Pro makes a 7.3 heavy action cranking rod that I like a lot for it. It handles it really well, 20-pound fluorocarbon. And this bait, I can get aggressive with it. I can twitch it, you know, twitch, pause, twitch, pause. Then I can take off reeling it, you know, and it just swims through the water, and then I'll kill it. So, you know, this bait's really really easy to work. You know, if you're new to glide bait fishing, this is the one that you need to get to get comfortable with it, you know, and start right there at the boat and watch it. You know, when you go down to the 7-inch, then things start to get a little finessey. I'm going to drop down to 14-pound test, you know, still maybe on that 7.3 heavy action rod, slower, you know, slower twitches, smaller twitches. You know, anytime you drop down in size on that glide bait, everything gets smaller. Just, you can't over move it. You know, you can reel it real quick and then kill it, but then like your twitches are just real small twitches, like a quarter reel handle to get this to twitch. And then when you go to the 5, I'll actually put this on a spinning rod. Man, I can skip that thing up underneath the dock, you know, put it on like 10-pound braid, just slow wind that thing out there, and then every now and then just twitch, twitch, and that's how that bait really shines. You know, it's not going to be a bait that's going to dart really side to side for you. It's a bait that you twitch a couple times and reel it real fast or reel it slow. Very, very unique bait though. That color right there is golden shiner. I love that color, you know, especially just anywhere you got those shiners, but in and around docks, over rock piles. You know, Cade had a tournament over there at the national championship, high school, junior high deal over on a power plant lake in Oklahoma. And in practice, we had some absolute monsters, you know, reeling this 5-inch over some shallow rock piles. They didn't end up eating it in the tournament for us, but in practice, like big ones, just engulfed it. You know, we didn't have any wind come tournament day. But that's a little bit about the sizes and the setups that I throw them on. A little bit more about the bait. It's unique in that it's got a hook hanger. You can bury the barb like that if you're in some heavier cover, say over grass. It doesn't get as deep, the hook points. Or you can put it like this. You've got some more hook points available to be hooked. It's going to catch a little more grass if you're in and around grass. But that hook hanger, that hook swings, the hookup percentage on these things is great because, man, they can't get a lot of leverage on you with that harness on it. Really unique bait. That color right there, that's the perch color. I love that color. It just looks a lot like a bluegill, a perch. It's very, very natural looking in all aspects of the water. This one here is burnt bone. Just that dirty water, stained water color. It's just, like I said, this one here is my favorite. It's just a really, really unique bait. So guys, I give these baits away as I always do. I'm going to give one of each one of these away. One Nessie, one of these next two. To whoever leaves a comment, we'll go down through there next month in the November video, randomly pick them. At the end of this video, we'll go through and we'll pick a winner from last month too. So you'll win September baits. And as always, we mail a Plano box. Plano's a proud sponsor of the channel. We'll send these in a Plano box to you also. So just appreciate you guys being a subscriber and liking the content. But the Nessie glide bait, it's that time of year, that time of season. It's a shallow deal, up shallow on shallow rocks, in behind docks, laydowns. Just it's a bait that catches them this time of year, I promise you. All right, the next bait. We all know this time of year is topwater. And if you've watched some previous videos from anybody else's channel, everybody's going to talk about topwaters. They're going to talk about a whopper plopper. They're going to talk about a buzz bait. They're going to talk about a walking bait like a jaywalker. You know, I did an October video one time on don't forget about the popper, you know, a popping style bait. All those are great. But then you get out there and maybe they're not working. Maybe the wind's not blowing. Maybe everybody in front of you is doing that and you know the fish are shallow. You got to show them something different. You got to think outside the box. And that's when you pull out a beating frog. You know, this is called a beaten paddle frog by Berkley. And the reason for this is it's a lot more subtle than a buzzbait. It's a lot more subtle than the you know, the Chapo or the whopper plopper. You know, it's open water. You can still throw this thing. You know, so many people will pigeonhole the frog into grass and matted grass and all those kinds of things. That's not the case. This time of year, clear water, backs of pockets, shallow water, calm, sunny conditions. This beaten paddle frog, man, it will flat blister them. I mean, it's just a bait. When things get tough, it's a little calmer, it's a little sunnier, and they won't commit to that Chapo, they won't commit to that big buzzbait, that jaywalker. You can reel this bait really quick, get a reaction bite out of them. The beaten paddle frog, man, it's a bait I have tied on in October. It works really well. I got white, I got HD leopard, and then this color here is just a watermelon pearl. It's just one of my favorite colors. Fished it a little bit tonight, just in and around the pond. I've got it rigged right here just on a Berkley 4/0 double hook, double stinger hook. I like that because it adds a little weight to it. It helps me cast it a little further. I'm going to throw this thing on like 40-pound braid, 7-1 medium heavy rod, high speed reel. But that double hook, you know, this is an open water deal. I just leave those exposed like that. It's got a very unique sound to it. It's a little more subtle than those other top waters, and it will put fish in the boat. That's one of those secret secret baits in October that will for sure catch some for you. All right, the last bait. You know, guys, I've talked about this bait a bunch, and it's a no-brainer, but I don't think people think about this bait this time of year. And that's a vibrating jig. You know, so many of the times that vibrating jig, you know, that's all we talk about in January, February, March, April, May for the shad spawn. But then it turns around. We get into October, those fish get shallow. There's not a lot of baits you can throw in that deep of water and it not get down too deep. Like, you know, we've talked about in October, you know, throwing a -1 style bait. You know, that stays up in the water column. You know, so many times a square bill gets too deep. You know, even a spinner bait, you know, with willow leaf blades, it's going to get too deep. A 3/8 ounce slobber knocker, I can hold my rod up high. I can keep that bait within the first few inches of the water column. And it's just like, you know, a shad trying to flee away. And so many times they won't go all the way to the surface or they've seen all those top waters. If you will tie on just a slobber knocker, a 3/8 ounce, hold that rod up, you can actually even wake it really, really quick over rocks. I mean, smallmouth, largemouth, it is a bait that shines come October when those fish get really shallow because there's not a lot of other baits that you can be effective that doesn't get too deep. And this is a bait I can keep up high. I've won tournaments. I've won, you know, Major League Fishing Cups on this bait right here, or a bait like it in October, you know, fishing it down the sides of docks. It'll get up underneath that foam, you know, on those flat points. It's a must-have. All three colors I've got right here, you know, for you to think about. You know, I've got a green pumpkin shad. I've got chartreuse and white, and then I just got white. Choose your color according to the water clarity that you got. The clearer the water, you know, the more transparent the bait you want. You know, the dirtier the water, the brighter the baits you want. So I'm going to rig those baits out with, you know, just a power stinger. I've got the HD shad. I've got a sight flash, and then I've got this clear Tennessee shad. I really like this clear Tennessee shad paired up with this green pumpkin shad, and you know, these all others are interchangeable. You know, I like that power stinger, the profile, the minnow profile that it gives off. Just really fits that bait well, and it'll last for lots of fish catches. But, you know, there's a bait that I've got on bigger line, a fast gear ratio reel. I'm humming it. I don't care if the water's super clear or if it's stained. You know, I've got it on big line. It's a reaction bite, and I'm throwing it up there really, really shallow. In those shallow rocks is where this thing's going to shine in October. So, all right, so our winner, I thought this was a funny comment. Heather Heron, 5406. She said, awesome tips. I plan on keeping them to myself so my boyfriend doesn't get the upper hand. I love it, Heather. You got to have an advantage on your boyfriend. So just send me an email through my website. This is the only winner. I'll never contact you guys. Keep all that spam off here. Send me your address, Heather, and my wife will get it out to you. So appreciate you being a subscriber and leaving the great comment. Hey, with that said, we got the website back up. We got hats, we got shirts, we got some Hooked on Fishing shirts. We've got, I like this one a lot. I just think it's funny. You hear everybody say it all the time. I got 99 problems, but catching fish ain't one of them. So that's a cool shirt we got. We got some others, some hats. We're about to have some pecans too, so I'm really excited about that. If any of you guys need Christmas gifts, corporate gifts, we do all that. And if you're in the area, we've got a pecan store on Highway 169 that opens November 1st. So I'm really, really excited about that store. And it's just going to be cool. We got a lot of fishing stuff in there, you know, memorabilia, and we got some a lot of pecans and gifts and those kinds of things. So you guys check it out if you can. All right, with that being said, guys, man, I appreciate the support. I appreciate all the comments. As always, I want to wish you all the best. Good luck in your fishing in October. It's one of those transition months. You know, just keep moving, cover water, and you can't reel those baits fast enough. I can't stress that to you enough. It's not a time of the year that you slow down. It's a time of the year that you really speed your baits up, reel them in faster. I hope this helps. Good luck to you in your fishing.